so much for having me here today. I'm excited to be able to talk to your group about using body language effectively when you give a presentation. Now, when I say use body language, what do you think about? If you're like most people, you probably think about using your hands, using gestures, right? Well, I gotta tell you, today I'm not going to talk about gestures at all. When you're developing effective body language, you want to focus on 3 basics, and not one of them is gestures. The first basic is just developing a proper, comfortable, confident resting stance and using good posture. The second basic is using effective eye contact. You want to make sure to speak to every single person in the room individually. And the third basic is using movement effectively across the speaking area. Okay, I'm just going to launch right into that first basic. The first basic was using a proper resting stance. Most people do one of 2 things. Either they don't move around at all and they feel rooted to one spot, or they feel the need to move around constantly and be in constant motion because you're nervous and you want to get out that nervous energy, right? Well, if you're in constant motion and you don't have a place to rest and you don't stop moving, then you just, well, you look nervous, right? And you don't want to look nervous, because if you look nervous and you act nervous, you're going to feel more nervous. You're not going to feel confident, and you're not going to feel comfortable. And the audience is going to pick up on that, and they're not going to feel comfortable watching you. So, you can't move around all the time. But you can't be rooted in one position either. Because if you're rooted to one position and you don't feel like you can move from this position, again, you're not going to feel comfortable, you're not going to feel confident, and your audience is going to pick up on that, and they're not going to be as willing to receive your message as if you were a confident, comfortable presenter. So what do? You want to develop a proper resting stance. A proper resting stance is when you have one foot behind you and the other foot in front of you just a little bit. And you can go ahead and put most of your weight on that back foot. Make sure that you've got good posture. Want to see everybody rolling those shoulders back and keeping that chin up. How does this look? Does this look comfortable? Well, it feels comfortable. I know that I definitely feel comfortable standing like this. Does this look confident? Well, to me, I feel very confident standing like this in front of you all. And it's because of this stance. Proper resting stance and proper posture. Because you've got one foot in back and one foot in front, it's a great way to launch into a couple steps. So it's very easy to move from that one spot. You can speak, deliver a portion of your message while standing in your resting stance. And if you need to get out a little bit of nervous energy, you can take a few steps, and it's easy to do. And it's easy to return to that resting stance. This is a great way to feel comfortable, to feel confident, to look comfortable, to look confident, and you'll feel better because of it, and your audience will feel better because of it too. That is the first basic for using effective body language. Having that comfortable resting stance. The second basic for using effective body language is using effective eye contact. You want to make sure that you're making eye contact with every single person in the room. You want to make sure that every person in the room feels like you are talking just to that person. Am I talking to you? Of course I am. My message is going directly to you. And you feel that way because I'm looking at you. I'm making that eye contact. I'm establishing that relationship. It's very important. Not only does it help the audience feel the love when you look at them, but it also helps you build your own confidence. And I know that seems counterintuitive because a lot of people want to avoid looking at the audience. They don't want to have people looking at them. But if you look at someone and you see that that person is paying attention to you, wow, that feels great. That helps you to develop that confidence. And if you look at that next person and they're paying attention to you, and that other person and that person in the back and they're paying attention to you, that goes a long way to developing that confidence. It's fantastic. It's a great feeling. And the more confidence you build as you're speaking, the more confident you look, and the better you look, and the more willing your audience is to receive your message. Because everybody believes what a confident person is saying, because a confident person believes in what they're saying and they know what they're talking about. So make sure you've got effective eye contact. That's the second basic. The third basic that you need to conquer is effective movement. Again, you don't want to move all the time across the stage, and you don't want to be rooted in one spot, even if it is in your comfortable resting stance. But you want to use movement effectively. So how do you do that? Well, the best way to do this is when you're making a transition from one point to the next. Take a couple steps. Give that audience that visual clue that you're moving on to the next point. You're literally moving on to the next point. And that helps you work off some of that nervous energy, and it helps you focus on different parts of the room. And again, yes, it helps you look comfortable, it helps you look confident, and when you look comfortable and confident, you feel comfortable and confident. I'm going to give you one more tip about movement. Start in the center of the room when you're speaking. This is probably where you're going to start. And then move to your left. And why do we move to our left? Because the left, my left as a speaker, is your left as the audience, is your right as the audience. And we read from right to left. So make your first point over here on your left, your audience is right. And then when you transition to the next point, move to the center of the stage, stop in your comfortable resting stance, deliver your information. When you're ready to transition to the next point, move to this part of the stage, take a few steps, stop in your comfortable resting position, and when you're ready to wrap it up, return to the center of the stage and to deliver your conclusion. You've literally come full circle, and the audience can follow that very logical visual clue, and that'll help them get more visual information in addition to the verbal information that they're getting from your speech. That's it. That's all you need to do. If you can have an effective resting stance, if you can have effective eye contact with everybody in the room, and if you can use movement effectively, you will be an effective public speaker.